After having gained as many allies as possible, it's time to return to Aiur. During the cutscene, Artanis explains that Amon has nearly finished his new body, but is vulnerable until it's finished, so he has to rely on the Golden Armada. However, by destroying the warp network's power structures, the Protoss can prevent the Golden Armada warping back to Aiur, giving them more time to attack Amon. Next, they'll trap Amon in the artifact and have the Protoss sever themselves from the Kala, forcing him back into the void. Alarak says that he wants to kill everyone from orbit, but Phoenix and Artanis object, as they want to save the Protoss. Later, Artanis mentions that as the artifact will help them, he'll honour Zeratul for this. Vorazon agrees with him. Next, Rohanna explains how different life is without the Kala, because she can't feel how people felt in the past. Artanis replies that history should be viewed without certainty, even though most historians would disagree. Finally, Carax mentions that Nerud has tampered with the artifact to store the void energies from Kerrigan until they could be used to revive Amon, even though in Heart of the Swarm they said it was the hybrid collecting this energy. Templars return. The mission begins with Rohanna explaining about the Psi Matrix and its 3 power structures. Then you attack each power structure with a team of heroes. The first team are Vorazon and Alarak. Oddly, you can't use the Spear of Adun's abilities, even though you could use them in almost every other mission, including those set indoors. Also, there's no Solarite to collect on Aiur. While fighting through the Zerg, you come across several gates which Vorazon has to open. However, when you get to the last gate, Vorazon has to protect Alarak from Zerglings, while he charges up an attack to destroy the gate, because they didn't plan this attack very well. After Alarak fires his super beam, the gate and power structure are destroyed, resulting in Alarak trying to take all the credit. Vorazon then says the next team can begin. At the next power structure, hybrids move in to defend it. Thus, Phoenix and Carax have to assemble an army to attack them, even though they could have brought an army from the Spear of Adun. To assemble this army, Carax can mind-control robotic units, including Colossi and Reavers. Also, you can gain control of buildings that can produce additional units. Once you have an arbitrarily sized army, you can attack the hybrids. Once they're dead, Carax destroys the power structure. However, this causes a massive overflow of psychic energy near the last power structure. Artanis decides that the best strategy is to run away from the psionic energy as fast as possible, since it's fortunately coming from the opposite direction he needs to travel. Also, the Dark Templar, Purifiers and Tal'Darim Pride support units that join throughout this mission. Artanis then fights through the infested Terrans and Abominations, which I'm guessing Amon brought to Aiur. Once you get to the last power structure, Artanis destroys it, disabling the Psi Matrix and preventing the Golden Armada quickly returning. Back on the Spear of Adun, Vorazon mentions that many Templar have been made into Amon's body, and Artanis is worried about attacking them. Vorazon tells him that he must attack them. The Host. This mission starts with everything breaking. Then Amon contacts Artanis directly with a vision of his new body. Next you see Amon's body is made from Protoss and the Overmind. Also, it's invincible since he's consuming void energies. However, by destroying the nearby void shards, he can be made vulnerable, though these shards summon units just like the Terrazine on Slain. Amon then appears with his new character portrait and threatens you, then attacks with his summoned units. There are also 2 Zerg and 1 Protoss bases that can be destroyed to gain additional Protoss armies. The same way in Heart of the Swarm that you could get reinforcements on Core by destroying the gates. As you destroy each void shard, it increases the strength of the remaining shards. This allows each shard to be more difficult to destroy regardless of which order you destroy them in. Once all the void shards have been destroyed, Amon starts attacking because his body is now complete. However, it's then instantly destroyed from orbit, showing it wasn't any threat to the Protoss. Back on the Spear of Adun, Vorazon says that they're close to building a united Protoss society. Artanis offers to preserve the traditions of the Dark Templar, but Vorazon says they may be forgotten in time as things have to change. Artanis says this is the price of becoming one people. Next, Rohanna says that she suffered when Amon possessed her, and muses that the other Protoss must yearn for release. Finally, Phoenix has decided on a new name, Talandar. Salvation. This mission starts with Artanis making a speech on the Spear of Adun, where he claims that the Kala only aided divisions. He also hopes that the Protoss will form a new civilization. Next they go down to Aiur for no reason, to a temple of no significance, to wait for the artifact to finish charging, even though it could charge on the ship. Also for no reason the Purifiers are being led by Carax, rather than Talandar or Calarian. After a few Zerg attacks, the Golden Armada starts attacking you, with Amon mocking you via Selenis. Fortunately, Artanis no longer has any objections to killing possessed Protoss, and they all fight to the death. After the artifact is partway through charging, the Spear of Adun becomes damaged and you lose its reinforcement abilities. As the battle progresses, the ship continues to lose its abilities until it can no longer assist you. Once this happens, Amon attacks with the remaining Templars. Once the artifact finishes charging, you get a cutscene where Artanis tries to talk to Selenis, despite knowing this won't work. Then Amon gets sucked into the artifact, Artanis tells everyone to cut off their nerve cords, Selenis asks what they'll be without the Kala, and Artanis says free. Selenis then cuts off her nerve cords, the remaining Protoss all follow suit, the artifact implodes, and Amon is defeated. Afterwards, the Protoss build a better civilization. Then Kerrigan calls them from Ulnar. Conclusion. As this is the first planet since Ulnar to have 3 missions, there's a lot to talk about. First, the positives. Going back to Aiur again with a new army to retake it again was good, as it allows the player to see how much Artanis has grown, and how much his army has changed due to all the trials and tribulations he's had to go through. Having Amon's body be made out of the Overmind's corpse meant there was a narrative reason why he was on Aiur, rather than anywhere else in the universe. In Salvation, the increasing enemy armies and the Spear of Adun losing its systems both helped make this battle feel like it was a major struggle for the Protoss. However, there are also a lot of issues. The main issue affecting all 3 missions is why can't the Protoss destroy their targets from space? Alrak brings this up and Artanis says he wants to save his people, but it was shown in the host that the Protoss ships can target a small selection of Aiur. So the Protoss ships could easily have destroyed the power structures, void shards, and Zerg hive clusters from space. While it could be said that Artanis didn't want to harm the nearby Protoss, this is contradicted in both Templar's Run, where you attack Protoss, and the host, where you can destroy a Protoss base to bring in reinforcements. If Artanis was prepared to attack the Protoss near Amon, then it shouldn't matter if he used his ground troops or spaceships. This would have made more sense if Artanis said that only Cybros can defeat Amon, and that the Golden Armada would attack before Cybros could charge a second shot. This would explain why space attacks weren't used in Templar's Run, and could justify destroying the void shards in the host in order to weaken Amon enough for Cybros' attacks to be effective. Then the Golden Armada's attacks in Salvation could prevent Cybros firing another shot. A lesser issue is, where is Calarian? He's supposed to be the leader of the Purifiers, while Phoenix only speaks for the Purifiers. Yet he neither appears nor is mentioned in any of these missions. Why did the writers even create a leader for the Purifiers if he was never going to be on screen or do anything? These missions would have worked better if Rohana had been right about the Purifiers being only robots, resulting in Carax having to become their leader, as it would explain why he was leading them in the Salvation mission. Regarding the mission-specific issues, in Templar's Return, the first issue was that there was no reason for only the heroes to attack these power structures. Like the Ulnar mission, The Infinite Cycle, the writers wanted a heroes-only mission, but couldn't come up with a good reason to have it. However, this mission is worse, since in Infinite Cycle, Kerrigan and Artanis couldn't go to each stone tablet at the same time because only Artanis could read them. By contrast, in Templar's Return, the heroes split up, yet don't even try to get to the next power structure until the previous one has been destroyed, even though the main advantage of splitting up is that they could attack all 3 simultaneously. The second issue is the lack of flying units. All the heroes can't attack flying units with their normal attacks, yet Amon doesn't use his Zerg Air Force against them. even when he has flying units and detectors nearby. This is yet another example of bad writing, as the writers had to make the villain an idiot so this mission could happen. The third issue is, why does Amon only attack Alarak with weak units? Even on brutal difficulty he doesn't use anything other than Zerglings and Hydralisks, despite having Ultralisks hybrids and several nearby Mutalisks. He doesn't even have the Overseers cover the whole area, so Vorazon can remain hidden. Both of these are further evidence of the writers having to make Amon an idiot, so this mission could happen. The fourth issue is, why are these structures so badly defended? Amon needs them to bring the Golden Armada back to defend himself, so they should be well guarded. While it's possible that Amon only defended the warp conduits, and forgot about the power structures, he should have sent a large army to defend them once he realised what the Protoss were attacking. Instead, he only sends 3 hybrids to defend the second power structure, though more somehow appear during this battle, basic Zerg units to the third one, and doesn't send any additional armies to protect them until the Golden Armada can be warped back. Once again, Amon has to be inept so this mission can occur. Like the Infinite Cycle, Templar's Return is a bad mission because the writers wanted a hero-only mission, but couldn't come up with a good reason why the Protoss would only send hero units rather than armies to attack these targets. They also had to make Amon respond as ineptly as possible to prevent him using his giant army to overwhelm the heroes. I'd say Templar's Return was worse than the Infinite Cycle, since the latter was sent indoors and very far away from Amon, which prevented Amon using his army effectively. No similar excuses can be made in this mission because it's outdoors, making it easy for flying units to move about, and is close to Amon, which allows him to respond more rapidly to enemy attacks with his mind-controlled army. Next we have the Host, where Amon is only guarded by his Void Shards because he sent the Golden Armada somewhere else to do something. While Amon not being guarded due to his own overconfidence and underestimating his opponents makes sense because of his personality, the problem is, why did he send the Golden Armada away from Aiur? While he did want to destroy the universe, there's never any reason why he has to start with targets that are so far away from Aiur, or why he couldn't wait until his body was finished before destroying them. Though Rohanna says the Golden Armada is attacking the Kapuru sector, it's never explained why. Thus, despite Amon having an arrogant personality that would lead to him being badly defended, the fact that there's no other objectives that would require him to use the Golden Armada means his lack of defense comes off as contrived. Regarding Amon's body, while this was built up as being a major threat, the ease with which the Protoss destroy it meant all the build-up had no payoff. Though this isn't a plot issue, as it would be in character for Amon to massively overestimate his own power, while replaying this game it's hard to take any scenes with Amon's body seriously when you know how easily it's going to be beaten. Finally, we have Salvation and the first issue. In his speech, Artanis is completely wrong about the Kala causing divisions, as this psychic bond united the Protoss before the Xel'Naga arrived, and re-establishing this bond ended a civil war caused by the Protoss tribes isolating themselves, the only exception being a few Protoss tribes that prized individual identity over a communal agenda, who later became the Dark Templars. Though the Dark Templar were exiled and the Conclave tried to kill them during the Protoss campaign in Starcraft 1, after the Dark Templars showed that they were effective against the Zerg, the Judicators were willing to work with them. And in Brood Wars, the Protoss factions united against the Zerg, with Artanis even attacking Kerrigan to avenge the deaths of Phoenix and the Matriarch. Also, at the start of this game, both the Protoss Zealots and the Dark Templar Stalkers were working together, showing that the Kala wasn't causing any divisions. So while Amon may have been using the Kala against the Protoss, to describe it as prejudice and arrogance is completely wrong. Sadly, this highlights a recurring belief among the writers, as they condemn the Protoss that choose to maintain their psychic bond, while praising those that sever themselves from it, even though StarCraft 1 claimed that either choice was acceptable. I'll discuss this more in my overall review of the Protoss campaigns. The second issue is why don't the Protoss charge the artifact before going down to Aiur? In All In, the Terrans had to charge the artifact on Char because they didn't have any way to get off this planet. But Artanis is clearly able to warp to his ship between missions, so there's no reason to even go to the surface. He could also have avoided the Golden Armada until the artifact was charged, set up a base anywhere else in the universe, and use the artifact as soon as the Templar arrived. This would have saved more Protoss since there wouldn't have been mass casualties on both sides while waiting for the artifact to charge. The third issue is why did the Protoss choose this location? I'm guessing it's meant to be a reference to the temple from In Utter Darkness, but in that mission the Protoss were here because their armies had been destroyed by Amon's previous attacks, and possibly because it was the only suitable location for their vault. Neither of these reasons can apply to this mission, and since the writers failed to provide a reason why the Protoss are here, this is another example of bad writing. The fourth issue is why is Carax leading the Purifiers rather than Phoenix or Calarian? The answer is that Phoenix is a spear of Adun ability, so he can't be used, and the writers have forgotten about Calarian. Thus Phoenix is an example of a game mechanic hindering the narrative, and I already explained why Calarian's absence is an example of bad writing. The final issue is how did Artanis know all the Protoss would sever themselves from the Kala? His whole plan involved all the mind-controlled Protoss being near enough to the artifact to hear Artanis' command to sever their nerve cords and comply with it. If some Protoss had refused, or were too far away to receive a telepathic message to remove their nerve cords, the Kala would have remained and Amon would have won. As a result, Amon being defeated in this way comes across as contrived. Therefore, while Salvation felt like an epic battle, since the writers didn't provide any reason why this epic battle was necessary or even likely to succeed, narratively, it comes across as a pointless battle that killed countless Protoss for no reason. Also, the writers trying to portray the Protoss severing their nerve cords as somehow making them better Protoss, rather than portraying it as a tragic sacrifice born out of necessity, simply highlights that they either don't understand the Protoss or simply hate them. Regarding characters, after severing herself from the Kala, Rohanna is now able to give good advice during these missions. Next, Vorazon no longer hates Zeratul. While this does count as a character arc, as Vorazon initially hated him for killing her mother, as Vorazon went from hating Zeratul to forgiving him, without having any other opinions about him, it feels like a step was missed from this arc. Finally, Phoenix choosing a new name is a good end to his character arc, where he learned he was a copy, but resolved to become a new Protoss rather than remain a copy. In conclusion, while there are reasons for the Protoss to return to Aiur and fight Amon, there was never any reason for Artanis to send any soldiers to the surface of Aiur, or to remain there once Amon's body had been destroyed. Though making minor changes can help the first and second Aiur missions make more sense, the third one cannot be easily fixed. The writers needed to explain why Artanis had to wait for the artifact to charge in this temple despite having many other options. The writers' failure to do this resulted in the last mission being a battle that had no reason to occur and one that Artanis should have avoided at all costs.